All right, so making an extra $2,000 a month is absolutely life-changing, and I know it was for me at least. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make $2,000 a month passive income. All right, so first I'm gonna show you how I got to $2,000 a month. Then I'm gonna show you the steps to take so you can exceed $2,000 a month. And by the end of this video, you're gonna be a passive income junkie. Hey guys, my name is Brent Bowers. I've done over 350 land deals, and each one of these land deals bring me passive income. I'm gonna talk to you today about the first couple land deals that I did. But before I was doing land deals, I was actually buying houses and wholesaling houses and flipping houses, and I was just having a very hard time doing that because I was in the military while I was doing this. So I was searching for answers. And I heard about this guy like buying land at crazy massive discounts and then doubling, sometimes quadrupling his money overnight. So I started mailing the land list. I started mailing people that own land that were behind on their taxes, people that were not paying their taxes for their land. So that told me something. These people might be a little bit motivated to sell me their land for a crazy discounted price. So what did I do? I contacted my county treasurer's office or the county tax collector office. Depending on where you're at in the United States, it could be called a couple different things, but we want to see what landowners, what property owners are not paying their back taxes, and we want to send them a letter saying, hey, I'd like to buy your property located at 123 Main Street. I'm actually going to give you the exact 2 letters that I've used to purchase hundreds of millions of dollars worth of land and houses. I'm gonna give you those letters today for free. Those are gonna be my free gifts to you for coming and watching this video. And oh, by the way, if you wanna send me a little thank you, smash that red subscribe button. It really helps with the algorithms. That's enough of that about that. Let's get back into how to make an extra $2,000 per month passive income. So the first one I did was I actually mailed 687 postcards, which again, I'm gonna give you that exact postcard today for free, but I mailed 687 to people that are behind on taxes, not paying their taxes for the last couple years, and this is in a small county in Colorado that I was doing this at. Well, this postcard got a lot of people interested, so they were calling me. I remember the first guy that called, he was a retired CPA, and he said, Brent, the land's yours for $285. Here's where it's located, and I almost like fell out of my chair when he told me $285. I had no clue what the land was worth though, and I'm getting to the point where I earn passive income, but you just gotta follow me. I'm gonna show you how I first got there. Well, I drove out there on a weekend with my wife that had just given birth to our first son, and then a friend of mine that was in the military with me. We went out and looked at these properties, and neither one of us knew what they were worth. None of us knew what they were worth. So I called the real estate office right down the hill from this property, and the realtor was completely like knowledgeable about what was going on in the area. And she said, hey Brent, the property's worth about $10,000. If you list it on the MLS, it might take you a few months to sell it, but I say it's worth about $10,000 because I had no clue what it was worth. Here I am buying this property for $285. And you might think I'm joking with you, like that's not possible. I already told you I've done over 350 land deals just like this. So I hung up with that realtor. I thanked her for her time. Guess what? She calls me back 5 minutes later and says, hey Brent, what if I were to buy that land from you? And I said, well, I don't actually own it yet. I'm on the way to buying it myself. And she said, no, that's okay. What if I actually bought it from you? I said, well, how much? She said, $5,000. I said, when can you close? She said, in a few days. I said, you got a deal, my friend. So we get the contract. She's buying it from me for $5,000. I'm buying it from the CPA, the retired CPA that, got it for a trade like 100 years ago. He traded this property for some tax work that he did. So I buy it from the CPA for $285. Immediately, I sell it to her for $5,000. I 20x'd my money really overnight. Well, the second week, a week later basically, I did another deal. The lady calls me. She said, I'll take $500 for it. I drove to Denver, Colorado to meet her because I was actually dropping my wife off at the airport, and I was keeping the baby over the weekend while my wife went back to her hometown because we were stationed in Colorado, so we would go back and forth to home all the time. Well, I meet this lady on her porch. I write her a $500 check for this 4 acres that is completely not accessible, not buildable, there's no road going to it, and it's surrounded by state land. I had no clue what I was getting myself into, but I understood all that, and I trespassed against the state land. It was really a state park, but I didn't pay to get in. I just walked across it and took photos of this 4 acres where I thought it was. I used the app called Landglide. Landglide is the best app ever. I've literally been lost in the woods and figured out my way out of the woods by using Landglide. So I found out exactly where the property was located. I took the best photos and videos that I could have, and I no longer use my iPhone for photos and videos. I hire a professional photographer that has drone and video and all that stuff. So don't be cheap, guys. But in the beginning, I didn't have money for that kind of stuff, nor did I know I needed that kind of stuff. So we're getting on to how I made this passive income. Well, I posted these pictures and this video and this information on Craigslist. Well, I take that back. I didn't put video on Craigslist, but I posted all the information. Not accessible, no roads, surrounded by state land, 4-point-something acres. You're gonna need an attorney to get access to this. I disclosed all that, and I asked for $500 down and a total of $5,000 total and $400 a month payments. I literally had a buyer within minutes. I got this guy, he met me, he gave me $500 cash. I wrote him a contract for deed saying he would pay me $400 a month every single month until that property was paid off. That was my first $400 a month. That got my car payment paid, and then we just kept increasing it and increasing it. Before we knew it, we were at $2,000 a month because I kept rinsing and repeating. The third property actually made me 25 grand, put that money in the bank, and then I just bought more land with that, and I continued to seller financing. Now, if you notice on that first example, I used an example where I didn't even charge the guy interest. Now I'm charging people 12% interest because now I'm actually borrowing money, like from my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. I'm paying them 9% interest to borrow their money, and then I buy this piece of land that's worth 30 grand for $10,000, and I sell the land for what it's worth, which is $30,000 at 12% interest, and I'm only borrowing $10,000 at 9% interest. You see the difference in math? I'm paying 9% on 10 grand. My buyer is paying 12% on 30 grand. That's what allows me to make all this money in passive income that has given me lifestyle freedom, time freedom, ultimately financial freedom, and then now geography freedom. We live in Florida now. My business is mostly in Colorado, and then ultimately this business is simple and it's easy. That's how you can make an extra $2,000 a month. But don't stop there. Before you know it, you can be at $41,000 a month in income. If you're interested in learning about this technique, how to make an extra $2,000 a month in passive income, head on over to the Landsharks.com, fill out a form to schedule a call with me or my team. And if you're interested in learning more about us, head on over to Wholesaling Inc. podcast, the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, and check out a video that I did with one of my students earning passive income every single month, and I hope to see you there. All right, so hopefully you haven't left yet. As promised, those free gifts that I offered you, the first one is my letter. If you want to receive the letter that I send to people that gives them an actual offer on their land, you can even use this for houses, and you get these things signed back and sent back to you via fax or email or snail mail. But by going to thelandsharks.com/LOL, that's my land offer letter, or you can just say laugh out loud because you just got a property under contract at a crazy discounted price. Head on over to thelandsharks.com/LOL. Or if you want that postcard that I used in the very beginning and I still use it to this day, head on over to thelandsharks.com/postcard.